Hello everyone. In this session, we'll see vectors in plane and space. Planes and space. So let's start with the first basic thing. This is line joining. We are into lines. So line joining 2 points. Before that, let's see if we have a three-dimensional space and this is a vector, let's say A, and then this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. So it might be making some angle with the X axis, let's say this is alpha, with the Y axis, let's say this is beta, and with the Z axis, let's say this is gamma. So this cosine of alpha, beta, gamma is known as the direction ratio, right? So this direction ratio, direction cosine first, is actually L, which is cos of alpha, M, which is cos of beta, and N, which is cos of gamma. The relation they satisfy is L square plus M square plus N square is equal to 1. Also, if we are drawing a line between certain points, let's say one point is P having coordinates x1, y1 and z1, and let's say another coordinate is another point is x2, y2 and z2, then the line joining this PQ is going to have the direction cosine as L equal to x2 minus x1 by PQ, whereas PQ is the length of the line, right? So let's say PQ, let's say this is lambda, let's say this is lambda. So this L is going to be x2 minus x1 by PQ, M is going to be y2 minus y1 by PQ, and N is going to be z2 minus z1 by PQ. Also, if we are trying to find the direction ratio for this line, it is going to be LMN, like we have already said. In the terms of Cartesian, if we are going to find it, this is going to be this. Like how? Now let's say the line joining PQ we have formed is overall having the components A, B and C. This is the components of line joining these 2 points, and in that case L is going to be A by under root of A square plus B square plus C square, and then M and then N, right? These three are going to be the coordinates which are the direction ratio. And of course this under root of A square plus B square plus C square is nothing but the length of the, so this is the length of that line joining 2 points. Now let's say we have also the direction ratio. If we want to draw for this LMN, it is going to be, let's say A is going to be lambda times of L, B is going to be lambda times of L, lambda times of M, and C is going to be lambda times of N. Now this LMN, let's say these are the components of one of the line, and this L2, M2 and N2 are the direction ratios of another line. In that case, the angle between these two lines can be given as simply dot product. So let's say we have line 1 with the direction ratios L1, M1 and N1, and another line as L2, M2 and N2. In that case, the dot product, we obviously know that the direction ratio will have the magnitude as 1. So we can directly write the L1, L2, M1, N2 and N1, N2. These are the I, J and K component of the lines, right? In the similar fashion, if the lines are given in the terms of direction ratio, let's say these two lines are L1 and L2 with the direction ratios A1, B1, C1 and A2, B2, C2. In that case, the angle, the cos theta, will again be given by the dot product, and this dot product is going to be A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 divided by the magnitude of both the lines. So these are the magnitude of the lines. Like we have discussed, the magnitude is going to be like this. So this is like we have seen the angle between two vectors can be given in the form of dot product. This is same, right? Now, what if we have to draw a line through a point which is parallel to certain line, let's say B, right? So in this space, let's say this is the line through which we want the line to be parallel, and this is the point A. In that case, this line joining this vector through A, and let's say this is the position vector of the line we are looking for. This is R, this is A. Then this is our R vector, this is A vector, this is the line through which is supposed to be parallel, and then the point joining these 2 points, the line will be R minus A, right? So this line is now R minus A vector. Now it is supposed to be parallel to this line B. So we can say this R minus A should be some constant or some scalar times of the B vector. So this is lambda times of B vector, right? R minus A is now parallel to B vector. Now if we are writing this R, which is the position vector of the line we are talking about, let's say this is having the components X, Y and Z. Let's say A vector is having the components X1, Y1 and Z1, and the direction ratio or cosine, both the things can be given. So let's say the direction ratio for the line B through which we need the line parallel to which is given by LMN. So this equation we are trying to form can also be given as R minus A by B equal to lambda. So this is a constant, and of course I, J, K components are going to be independent of each other. So this is nothing but splitting, this equation is splitting I, J components separately, and of course it is going to be like lambda times, right? If this is given in direction ratio, if it is given in direction cosine, then this lambda is going to be some other value, and maybe let's say these two lambdas are different, not exactly same. So this is what we are doing for the line for the A vector and for the B vector. The Cartesian form can be written as x minus x1 by L1, L, y minus y1 by M, and z minus z1 by M, N. Now again, what if we want the line passing through 2 points? We have got 2 points. Let's say this is A, let's say this is B, and we need a position vector for the line passing through these 2 points, the line passing through these 2 points. In that case, this one is nothing but B minus A, and let's say this one is actually R minus A, right? Let's say this is R vector. Then again, the lines being parallel, both the lines being parallel, it is required that R minus A should be parallel, so that it is lambda times of B minus A. So this is where we are getting the equation R is equal to, this A goes on the other side, R is equal to A plus lambda times of B minus A. So this is the line joining 2 points. And again, this can be written in the Cartesian form like R minus A by B minus A equal to lambda, right? This can be written as R minus A by B minus A equal to lambda. And again, let's say we have R is equal to are having the components x, y, z, the one we are looking for. Let's say A is having the components x1, y1 and z1, and B is having the components let's say x2, y2 and z2. So writing this same equation as r minus a by b minus a going to be lambda. So this is x minus x1 by x2 minus x1. Writing all this in the ijk components because they are going to be independent from each other. So taking x, x1, y, x2 from r, a, b, we are going to form this equation in the Cartesian form, right? Now what if we have two lines? Let's say this is r1, let's say this is r2, and we have to find the angle between the lines. So this b1 and b2 are going to give the direction ratios for the line, let's say L1 and L2, right? So if we do the dot product of b1 b2 and divide it by the magnitude of b1 b2, it will give the angle between these two vectors, and that will be the angle between the lines, right? So this is what we have written. This is b1 dot b2 divided by the magnitude, which will give the cos theta for this case. So if again, what is this? This is nothing but the equation of lines. Let's say this is line 1. So for this case, A is having components x1, y1, z1, although it is not required. What is required is the direction ratio. So let's say the direction ratio, I'm writing it dr or dr1. dr1 is L1, m1 and n1. Whereas for this line, direction ratio is having L2, m2 and n2. We also know that the direction ratio has the magnitude of simply 1. So if we do the dot product of this direction ratios for both the line L1 L2 plus M1 N2 plus N1 N2, this will give the cosine of this line or cos theta of this line, and that will give you the theta or the angle between the lines. So that's it. This is done. I won't explain this, but because it will take a little more time, and you have to understand that this is actually nothing but b1 cross b2. So if this is giving the direction ratio for two lines L1 and L2, we have to do the cross product, and this is nothing but the scalar triple product of a2 minus a1 divided by b1 minus b1 cross b2, and this is the magnitude of the cross product of b1 and b2. So if you have the lines in Cartesian form, let's say this is L1 and this one is L2, then what is the b1 and b2? Don't confuse this b1 with this b1. In this case, the direction, I'm writing it as direction, let's say ratio. The direction ratio is going to be a1, b1 and c1, and for this case it is going to be, let's say dr2, it is going to be a2, b2 and c2. What are these components x2, y2 and z2? These are the component of the vector or through which the line is passing. Similarly, x1, y1 and z1, we have just seen these lines, right? So in that case, we will do the scalar triple product of a2 minus a1, this is a2 minus a1, and b1 and b2. So this is scalar triple product. We have to divide this by the magnitude of, this is nothing but the magnitude of b2 cross b1. So we are dividing the scalar triple product by the magnitude of the cross product, and this will give the distance between the lines. So when is this distance going to be 0? The shortest distance between the line going to be 0? Of course, when the lines are interacting. So intersection of the line says the distance, the smallest distance is going to be 0. But there are chances that there are certain lines which are not parallel. Don't assume that this is, it will confuse you. Let this be. So there are lines which are not parallel, but they are not intersecting in the three-dimensional plane. This is not happening in 2 dimension, this is happening in 3 dimension. So these are the lines known as skew lines, right? This is same as what we have done, but the only case is the lines are parallel. So this means the direction ratio is going to be same for the case. So all we have to do is the cross product, already written. So cross product of B with the line joining points A2 and A1 divided by the magnitude. This will give the shortest distance between the lines when they are parallel. Now let's discuss planes. Planes. So if we are in this 3 dimension, and let's say this is a plane, and let's say this is a normal coming out, and I hope you are getting that 3-dimensional picture I'm trying to give you. In that case, this plane is somewhere this far from the origin. After that it is out of the plane, right? So let's say this is behind the plane, this is out of the plane. So this is your normal vector. So this is the distance of this plane. Let's say this distance is given by small d. So in order to make a plane which is perpendicular to this normal vector, we need to, like, let's take a position. Let's say this is A. Let me try some other pen. Let's say this is A, which is on the plane. This dot is on the plane. So this is R. That means if we join these two lines, what is this line? This is the point right from where the normal vector is coming out of the plane, right? And this is the position of a point on the plane. So this is the line joining the point and the point right from where the normal is coming out. So let's say this is going to be d into n, right? Because d is the distance, and let's say n cap is the normal vector. So what is this vector is going to be? Let's say this is p. So this p is going to be d times of n vector. Yes or no? Because d is the length and n is the normal vector, or simply the vector on this line, right? And let's say this is R. So this line joining P and Q is going to be simply R minus dn, right? This is the line joining P and Q. So this is PQ. Now if this line lies on the plane, and we know that normal vector is like perpendicular, and we know this normal line is perpendicular to the plane, then the dot product with the normal is going to be 0. And this is how we get this expression of the plane, that is R dot n is equal to d. So what is this n? N cap is the normal vector for the plane. Normal, it is already written, unit normal vector. And d is the distance of this plane from the origin. Also, what if we are writing this n cap as, let's say, n cap is written in the form of, the components are L, M and N. These are the direction cosine of this normal vector. Then this R dot n, R is having the components x, y and z. So the dot product is going to be Lx, My and Nz. This is the dot product equal to t, right? So this is in the Cartesian form written. And what if the plane is to be through a point whose position vector is A and is perpendicular to the normal vector n? This is very similar to the one we have discussed, so let's not elaborate this. All you have to understand this, that this is line passing through the A, which is already on the plane. So again, instead of taking P, we can take that line to be take that point to be A, right? The one we were taking P in this case, instead of that we can take A, and we are going to get this equation. So in this case, again, R is having the components x, y and z, and A is having the components x1, y1 and z1. So this is going to be, and this n, which is the normal, will have the direction ratios as A, B and C. So this is going to be A into x minus 1, B into y minus y1 and C into z minus z1. So this is similar, just written in the Cartesian form, right? In this case, it was like this. And what if we want a plane through three non-collinear points, right? What we are going to do this here is, we can find, it's very well written here. Let's see. Let's say these are the 3 points A, B and C. This is line joining AB, line joining AC, and then there's a third point which is on the same plane, let's say R. So this is going to be R minus A, this is going to be B minus A, and this is going to be C minus A, right? So these are the 3 lines we are having, R minus A, B minus A and C minus A. Now if these 3 lines are in the same plane, that is we want a position vector which is on the same plane as the 3 points. Now if this R minus A is also on the same plane, then the scalar triple product is going to be 0, because we have seen it, the parallelepiped we will form, that is the solid, the volume for that solid is going to be 0 if the vectors are on the same plane. So that is what we are doing. This is scalar triple product in the Cartesian form written. So this is nothing but R minus A, this one is nothing but B minus A, and this is nothing but C minus A, right? Do you see this? These are the components of the line joining B, A, C, A and R, A, right? We have already seen this. So using these 3 lines, this scalar triple product is going to be 0, and that is how where we can get the equation of that line on these planes, on the plane which is having these 3 points there. And this is what we have written in the equation form, R minus A into B minus A into the cross product, right? The cross product, because this is a scalar triple product. Now we also need a plane through the intersection of planes. Let's say we have a plane and let's say we have another plane. Let's say this is one plane pi 1, this is another plane pi 2, this is extending here, this is extending here, and this is the line of intersection of these 2 planes, right? There are 2 planes and they are intersecting at this point. And now what we need is a plane which passes through this point of intersection, right? This third plane, the plane we are looking for, is passing passing through the intersection of these 2 points. So it has to satisfy the intersection, so that this has to pass through pi 1 and pi 2 both, and in that case we can simply write, let's say this is case 1, so 1 plus lambda times of 2, and this is the equation we are going to get, right? And if the lines are plane equation is given in the form of this way, then again we are doing this 1 plus lambda times of 2. That's it. So this will be the plane which is passing through the intersection of plane 1 and plane 2. This is line. So 2 lines are equal to A1 plus lambda times of B1 and are equal to A2 plus lambda times of B2, mu times of B2, let's say, are coplanar if 2 lines are coplanar. What we can do is we can join the lines. This is nothing but joining the 2 points A1 and A2. This is the cross product. So if the scalar triple product, again this is nothing but the scalar triple product, if it is 0, so then we can say that both the lines are lying on the same plane. Let's say this is the plane on which this line L1 and this line L2 lies. So, and let's say it is in the direction of B1, it is in the direction of B2, passing through the points A1 and A2. So in that case, the line joining A1 A2 should be perpendicular to the cross product of B1 and B2. So that means the scalar triple product should be 0, and that is what we have done here in the Cartesian form. So I think it is not required to explain this. This is simply the Cartesian form here. Now what if we have to find the angle between two planes? So we know this is the normal vector for n1 is the normal vector for pi 1, let's say n2 is the normal vector for pi 2. Then whatever angle, like this is a plane and this is normal vector n1, and let's say this is another plane and this is the normal vector of n2, and we know that both these planes are 90 degree from the plane. So whatever angle these planes are making will be the same as the angle made by the normal vector n1 and n2. So what we can do is simply doing the cross product divided by the magnitude. Of course, if it is unit vector, this magnitude of n1 and n2 are going to be 1. So this will be the answer. And what if we need line and plane angle? See, now that normal vector will be perpendicular to plane, but what if there is a line? This is line L1, this is plane pi 1. In that case, we can draw or we can make an angle between the normal and the line, let's say L1, but this is not going to be the line, this is not going to be the angle between the plane and the line, right? Why? Because this perpendicular is 90 degree ahead of the plane. So we can say if we require theta angle that is between the plane and the line, then this is going to be 90 minus some angle, let's say phi, where phi is the angle between the normal and the line, right? Because these two angles are going to be complementary. Let's say I am joining this, let's say this is theta and this is phi, this is 90 degree. So what we are trying to do is the dot product of the line and the normal vector will give this angle phi. So this will be cos phi, but we don't need cos phi, because if this theta is 90 minus phi, we need cos theta. So instead of that, we are writing cos of 90 minus phi, which will become simply sin phi. So instead of cos phi, we can do the sin phi of the dot product, right? And if we need the angle phi, it can be sine inverse of this, whatever is written on the other side. Fine. And this is angle between the planes, again in the Cartesian form what we have read, right? The dot product. So A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 are the components of the direction ratios of the line of both the planes, and then divided by the magnitude of this direction ratio. That's it. This is a direct formula you can use for a point, like how far is this point from a plane. So you can directly substitute the values of x. Let's say this is the point P and we want to see at what distance this point P is from the plane pi 1. You can simply substitute this value in this plane and you can divide it by the magnitude of the direction ratio. This is the magnitude of the direction ratio. This will give you the distance of that point from the plane. And what if we need to find the distance between two parallel lines? In that case, what we can do is, let's say we have a plane pi 1 given by ax plus by plus cz plus d1 equal to 0, and let's say we have another plane equal to ax plus by, keep it capital, plus cz plus d2 equal to 0. These two are parallel planes. So the distance between these two planes, let's write small d, will be simply d2 minus d1 divided by the magnitude of this direction ratio, which is a square plus b square plus c square. That's it. This is about the planes which are parallel. So we have to find the difference of d1 and d2 and divide it by the direction ratios. What if the lines are written in the direction cosine form? Direction cosine. That is, instead of normal vector we will have n cap. In that case, this magnitude is going to be 1 and it will be simply d2 minus d1, right? So this is all about the vectors in line and space. We can see the questions.